everyone. This is my live at 2 on Tuesday for this week, and I'm excited to try. Our internet connection is not so great for some reason. Hopefully it's gonna work. So you guys let me know if you can see and hear me okay if you're here. And we are going to paint a little white house. So I've done a little farmhouse in a few different paintings lately, and I'm going to do one on just a small little 6x6 canvas. And let's see, I hope you guys can hear and see okay, because it's telling me that my internet connection is bad, but hopefully it'll work. So if you're here and you're watching, give me a thumbs up or something and let me know that everything is working, because I don't want to start painting if it's not. But I'm just going to use, I've already put a little bit of Indian yellow on this little small canvas, and I'll show you a sample. This is the little white house. I want to do something, just a little study of this, and I'm going to do it on this square canvas. I'm going to do some, like a series that has this in, you know, this is part of the commonality of the series, the little house. So we're going to start painting, and I'm going to turn my camera around, and you're going to be dizzy for just a moment. Hopefully for not long. Okay. That should work right there. And I'm going to be using my palette knife. See if I can tighten this up enough. I'm going to be using my palette knife for this and kind of do it quickly. That's what I'm hoping for. So if you're not familiar with palette knives, they're just painting tools made of metal. I've got one that's got a rounded tip. This one is more of a square, and then this one is pretty much more like the most common shape that you'll see in a store, but I like to use different kinds. So let me move this down. I'm gonna get my paint out, and I'm gonna start with just something like a little, kind of like a little sketch using my brush, and then I'll swap over to the palette knife. And this black writing on here is just where I was testing out a paint pen, so just ignore that part. Okay, so let's see, what color? I think I want to use some blue for my color here. And we're just going to kind of map out where things are going to live. And I'm going to have a horizon line. Going to have a little bit of some hills back here. And then I'm going to put my little house. Let's put it about right here. So I'm just going to kind of, it's kind of like sketching it with paint before I do the actual painting. And I do this with just about everything that I paint. And I know I'm covering up some of my hills back here, but I may go back in there and change that in just a minute anyway. So that's just fine. All right, so that's going to be where our house is. And then there's a big bush over here. So I'll just go ahead and put that in there. Kind of covers up this corner of the house. And so let's get these mountains fixed a little. They need to be a little bit bigger, taller. And Maybe have something coming down like this. Like a flat area here. This will all make more sense once I get it going. Okay, and let's just put like a little pathway over here. All right, so that's my very rough sketch. And let's get in with some burnt sienna. And I'm gonna get out some cadmium yellow. And some black and some white. Actually, I'll just use my palette knife to grab it. So there's some white and some black. And I like to mix black and cadmium yellow to make a really pretty green. It looks like my camera's a little bit crooked. Hang on. All right, I'm gonna start with some dark green. I'm just gonna put it in here. I can lighten it up with a little bit of white. And this is gonna be a really quick sketch. Or it's gonna be a painting, but I'm calling it a sketch because it's kind of like a little trial run to see what happens. Okay, and I want this back here to be a brighter green, so I'll mix more yellow. I'm gonna swap palette knives. Like this part here. Background color is already that yellow, so it's really kind of just not really going to show up until I get some other colors here on the surrounding areas. All right, so now let's look at this sky up here. I'm going to put in some blue. This is manganese blue. And I've still got some green on my palette knife, but that's okay. Because I want this to be kind of a dirty blue. So I'm going to go around the edge of my mountain that I kind of sketched in there, and that's what gives me a little guide to know where to put what. I'm going to need some more paint. Okay, so we're just kind of blocking in the color right now. So I've got the blue sky and the green for the grass here. And these mountains, I want them to be more of a gray. So let's mix up some white and some black. But I'm going to put some yellow in there too, because I want it to be more on the greenish gray side. Okay, let's go this way first. Super fast. Then I may want to add a little more yellow in this one in the front to give it a little bit of some separation. Actually, let's make it lighter. Put some more white in there. if you pick up your canvas and hold it, it helps. It helps me. Because it's kind of like I'm using both hands to maneuver the paint around. All right. So now we've got some hills back here. Let's put in a little dirt road. So I've got some burnt sienna. I'm just gonna mix it with that gray that we had here to make us a little red dirt road. Okay, so this is mostly all of the background that we need. So let's work on our little house now. And I'm gonna see, this is sort of like a a test for me. I'm gonna see what I can do with this to make a good edge. I'm thinking I can just pull straight down and make this house work. If I'm using this knife that's this shape. And I think it's gonna work. Okay, so I need to have a little separation between the front and the side. I think I've got that side a little too high also, but I can correct that. Painting with a knife, you have to just kind of let it do what it's going to do. And it's going to be loose and it's going to be different. I'm going to put a little bit of this greenish gray in here just to give it some value, because it's just like a stark white right now. Okay, that looks good. So let's go with, the roof is going to be like a rusty roof. So it's going to be about the same color as our dirt road. And let's see what I can do. Just pulling straight down. I think it's going to work. But it needs to come down a little bit more. And I may use my brush to just kind of go back in there and straighten some things up. But for the most part, I'm going to try to use just a knife and see what I can accomplish. And I remember off the side here, I had a little porch, but I think I've got it a little bit off now from what I had started. That needs to be darker, and it's coming along. This is going to come down more. Okay. And see, I've got my porch all wonky, so I've got to need to fill in a little bit of green right there. Let's go back and get our little road fixed up here. Okay, so we have a bush over here that I need to do next. Let's get some more black and yellow. I'm gonna put dark first. I'm gonna turn it this way. I'm gonna make our little bush live right here. And it covers up the side of the house a little bit. I'm gonna add some more white in there for some highlight. And let's put a little bit of some lighter green right in here. So it needs to be pretty dark at the base of where the house is. And then it can be a little brighter and lighter up in the front. Okay, now let's put in some little windows. So we're going to have one right here. And one's kind of being covered up by this bush, but you can still see it. And then we'll have another one right here. And one more right here. And I need to work on this front porch. So I'm gonna have this coming out like this. Over a little porch right here. And let's do a little post. Add some dark around the edges of the roof right here. And I'm looking at my original and I think I've got this a little bit off, but it'll be okay because we can paint over it and it's fine. So I'm going to scrape a little bit right here. Add a little white. And I think I need my roof to come down a little bit lower right here. Just a tiny bit. There we go. All right, and we can also make a little fence. Let's start it about right here. I'm going to do it in black and then go back over it with a little bit of white. It's hard to see just yet. let's put in some, I don't know what you call these, pieces of wood that go this way. So now you've got the little impression of a fence. And we'll do some window thingies. I don't know what these are called either. And as this dries, it's going to dry darker. So this is a lot of paint on here right now. But as it dries, I may go back in. I'm going to darken this a little bit. I may go back in and add some highlights later on. Maybe darken some of the dirt road right there, especially along the edge of that fence. Now let's see if I can take my brush and do a little bit of some fixing up. So like right in here. I may want to straighten up some things, smooth some things out. Maybe lighten up an area or two. And let's make some little clouds. So you can combine your palette knife work with a brush and it will be just fine to do that. So I'm making these a little bit gray to begin with, and then I'm going to come back and brighten them up. I'm going to cover up some of this yellow on the edge. And I think this turned out to be a cute little study of my little farmhouse done with a palette knife rather than all brushwork. I'm going to soften that tree just a little bit. And get it a little darker down here. And I want to add a little bit of this burnt sienna in the clouds. It's going to be a little bit of a pink color, and that just brings that color all the way through the whole painting. Let's put a little bit of that in the side of the house too. All right. So there's our little study. I think it turned out cute. And hopefully it gave you some ideas and maybe even inspired you to try your own little white house using a palette knife. So if you guys have questions, you can post them below. I can't really see them for some reason because I'm on my phone and it's not showing me questions or comments. But if you have a question, I'll be happy to try to answer it. And you can post them and I'll come back and take a look. I'm going to add a little more white in these clouds right here. Using my palette knife. And then we'll be done. Okay, you guys, thanks for being here, and I'll see you back here next Tuesday at 2 o'clock for our new, I don't know what yet. I kind of do it at the spur of the moment, but I'll see you back next week. Bye.